Jeff Fuller with you, Jay Fuller Interviews. Please subscribe on YouTube, Jay Fuller Interviews. Join the Facebook group, Jay Fuller Interviews, and follow on Twitter and Instagram, Jay Fuller Interviews. Now, a podcast on the Google podcast platform, as well as iTunes, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. Subscribe to the Backfire podcast with Jeff Fuller. That's me, of Jay Fuller Interviews. And the whole reason is because I believe people's stories make our stories much better, more impactful, less ignorant, and just better. And one with a great story is Malik Smith. Malik, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. Thanks so much for making the time. So quick shout out to Ian Cunningham, Kenny Anderson Showcase. What was it like for you to know that your coach had a showcase going on and your coach was the Kenny Anderson from the NBA?
When I first found out, I'm not gonna lie to you, I didn't know who Coach Kenny was. My parents did, and I did my research quick and looked up everything about him, and I was just amazed and in awe, and just how passionate he was and how he played the game. So being able to play for somebody like Coach Kenny is really like an honor. Playing for somebody who's played at the highest level, he knows exactly what he's talking about and how to get there. And just our relationship from the time we met just took off. We aligned in every which way possible. Just go out, play hard, work hard. And I think that's why we have such a great relationship, because I know exactly what I'm going to get out of him, and he knows exactly what he's going to get out of me. So,
Malik, where did you grow up?
I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio. I was actually born in Cleveland. Then I moved to LA for some time, and then moved back to Cleveland. Finished the rest of my high school out there. So.
And now you're a senior at Fisk University, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So what's it like this year with COVID going on? You just said off air, a lot of testing, a lot of crazy stuff, but are you adjusting to online and what's taking place?
I feel like I'm adjusting every day. I feel like, it's a new dynamic we're living in. And, just kind of just dealing with, like I said, the new way of life. So like I said, it's really just adjusting every day. I mean, the virtual learning is definitely different. It's one that was not expected, but, you have to make things work. Life gets thrown at you and things, left turns, right turns. So you have to just adjust accordingly. But for the most part, I feel like that it's not the most ideal situation, but you got to make it the best. You got to make it the best of what you have. So
now, Malik, how many siblings do you have?
Say that again.
How many siblings do you have?
I have 2 brothers and 1 sister.
Where do you fall? Are you the oldest?
Middle. I'm the middle child.
And so what did you learn about being competitive, having siblings? So
my whole family's competitive. My parents, they met in college playing basketball at Point Park University. So I literally grew up on a basketball court, and just that competitive nature, just always trying to just be better than the next, and always just trying to outwork someone. And so from that aspect, it was really good just having our parents just instilling us just that competitive nature, and obviously having my siblings just be there to just. You always want to outwork your siblings. You just want to be better than them at everything. So that, on top of our parents, just really helped just propel just that work, and get things done mentality. So.
How tall are you, Malik?
6'7".
6'7". That's a big boy. And you got to play at Asheville, played Division I, then you transferred to Fisk. Could you just talk about that process? And you mentioned before that you and Coach Kenny seem to be on the same page. Have you found your home?
Most definitely. I did find my home. Just the transition from Division I to NAI was definitely a different transition. But and it was. At first, it was a tough one for me. Just from a pride standpoint, going to playing from the highest collegiate level of basketball, and then going down to the NAI division. But what I learned very quickly is that you can make anything happen anywhere, any school. Yeah. Doesn't matter if you're D1, D2, D3, NAIA. It does not matter. If you're talented, you're talented. And then that's all about your work ethic too, and the people that you surround yourself with. So someone like Kenny Anderson, who has connections everywhere, was just, like I said, it's truly a blessing and an honor to be able to play for someone of his caliber.
Now I've seen that you're also a pilot, that you fly around. Do they have enough leg room for you? First question is, what was your interest in flying? When I was a kid, my goal, I wanted to be an Air Force pilot when I was like 7 or 8 years old, but I have bad eyes and a bad work ethic, so that never panned out. But why flying for you?
Oh man, I love when people ask me this question. So, when I was younger, my mother used to work for Warner Brothers, and my dad used to work for Pepsi. So, when we were younger, we, obviously not old enough to stay at the houses by ourselves. So they would take us on, planes. I grew up on a plane. Literally, I was everywhere, and I just remember just the pilots and stuff would let me go into the cockpit before the plane took off, and I got to see all the buttons, and I would, want to touch the buttons and how does it work. So just from seeing that so much and growing up, I literally from a young age was like, I want to fly airplanes. Like it wasn't one of those things where I did not know what I wanted. Like I knew for a fact at a young age, like I was like, I want to fly airplanes. And when I first told my parents, they were like, okay, like you want to be everything. How kids, young kids, they want to be everything, firefighter or whatever it may be. And they're like, okay, like we'll see. So when I was 10 years old, my parents bought me my first Discovery flight. And I flew a plane at 10. That was my first time flying an airplane. So as soon as I landed, I was like, this is exactly what I want to do for the rest of my life. And I've just made my dream a reality, and just followed through with it.
When was your first solo flight?
August 27th of this year, actually.
And so what was that experience like?
Oh man, that day was unreal. Just that whole week. I can name everything I did just that whole week, just everything, because like I said, being, wanting to do something for so long and having it being a dream and then to finally see it come to fruition, like make it your reality is unreal. Like that day on August 27th, I remember for the rest of my life because it was literally the day that I had prayed for forever. It was a day that I had saw coming in my future, just never knew when it was going to happen, so just being behind the controls, and I was just like, this is unreal. And just to be following my passion, it's nothing like it. And now that I've been showcasing my flying stuff more, it's really inspired people not just necessarily be pilots, but just do what you love to do and just be happy. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing like doing and following your passion. It's unmatched.
So you said pray. What part or role does faith play in your life?
Oh, a huge part. God first. Parents instilled that in me since I could remember, since I could walk. When my nana would read us Bible scriptures before we went to bed, and we had to wake up and immediately, get on our knees and pray. So all thanks to him, all thanks to him. Every time, success or bad, I always give thanks to God in every way, shape, and form.
And so you're in that airplane. Are you praying more than usual, or are you pretty comfortable up there in that aircraft?
Yeah, so every time before I take off, as soon as I finish my checklist and before I get into or once I get into the aircraft, I always, put up a prayer to God just to watch over me, look over me, and keep the faith strong, because at the end of the day, you're flying. Anything you do, you want to have God on your side and God looking over you. But when in an aircraft, there's so many things that are, what I'm saying, one wrong thing and it can be, what I'm saying, detrimental. So I just look over for strength and prayer and just courage, and that, he'll guide me and strengthen me just to continue and continue doing what I love. And I'm being blessed to do what I love, so I always give thanks to him for that.
So I got to ask you, and maybe Coach Kenny is watching, but maybe not. What do you love more, flying or playing basketball?
Flying.
Yeah.
Flying. And somebody asked me, hey, you have to go work out for 4 hours a day, or you got to go fly for 4 hours a day. It's a no-brainer.
What's your major at Fisk?
Business management.
So what's your end game? What would you like to do?
So my end game, so I'm enrolled in a flight school right now, and I'm taking classes for business management here at Fisk. But my end goal is to open up my own flight school, a Black-owned flight school, and teach other kids how to fly, and share the passion that I have. You know what I'm saying, for aviation. One of the things about that I pride myself in this aviation world is being Black. Because there's not many of us, less than 2% actually. So to be a part of that small number is a blessing. But I also want to have more people that look like, more minorities in the field too. And like I said, just because there's people out there that definitely want to do what I do, but just don't have the opportunity to. So I want to provide people with more opportunities and more avenues to get to achieve that.
Yeah, that's amazing. Hey, so Ian told me that you have a brother that plays at Ohio State. This kid is also quite a big boy as well. Do you try to avoid messing around with him when you guys are playing or wrestling back home, or is it just fun having that type of competition in your household?
Oh man, it's always fun having that competition. Me and my brother are as close. We're closer than like we are locked in. Like my little brother, we're the closest out of all my siblings. So just growing up in the house with him, really, like I said, really just it goes back to that just competitive aspect. Him always like him being the youngest, he's always wanted to just outshine people and outwork people. And for me, it was good to just see that from my brother, and that he looked up to me in that aspect. So I always, have his back, and I know he's always gonna have mine. So just
Yeah. Now my wife is from Michigan, so I don't know if I can say the university that your brother is attending. But how excited is he for that possibility of having Big Ten football back?
oh, he's ecstatic. I mean, he is. This has been something that he's like me in aviation. He's dreamed about this for a minute as well. He's at the position to where he can really propel himself in his future. You know what I'm saying, and make it to the next level. And the one thing about Tyreek is that his work ethic is through the roof. He inspires me to work hard and go hard at what I do, even harder. And I'm not afraid to say that, because he is my little brother, and we 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 feed off of each other. We feed off each other. When we're down, we pick each other back up, and when we're high, we keep pushing each other to higher limits. So and just seeing his transition evolve from the time he's got to Ohio State to now, and even before then, my brother, he didn't start playing football until he was a junior in high school.
Wow.
And to see him on the field as starting defensive end at Ohio State it just goes to show that his work ethic and just his grittiness to be great at what he does.
That's so good. Malik Smith makes some time and joining us. He's on Instagram and Twitter. You can certainly follow him there. Check out Fisk University. And I just encourage you to get on Twitter and watch the flying videos and pictures you put up. They're a lot of fun, and they're pretty cool to see you be 6'7" behind in that aircraft. Hey, so Coach Kenny Anderson, the documentary was Mr. Chibbs. I don't know if Kenny makes you watch that documentary as part of your practice or what. Kenny's quite the guy. I love him. But he certainly had his ups and downs. What's something that you have learned from watching Kenny Anderson and hearing about his past and where he is now?
The one thing that I noticed about Coach Kenny was that he out of all the coaches that I played for, Coach Kenny is the most genuine, most humble person that I've ever met.
Wow.
He's just a good person. Outside of the coaching and everything that he went through, he remains humble. He just remains a good spirited person, and that really feeds off. It really feeds off on people because coaching is a tough industry. Coaching is a business. Coaching, as we all know, coaching is not easy. So for him to just remain and want to see everyone succeed speaks volumes to just his character and how he was brought up. It doesn't matter if you're a starter or the last guy to come off the bench. He wants to see you succeed. He's gonna want to help you in every which way possible, not just on the court but off the court as well. He's always asking us like, "Hey, do you need anything? Hey." He knows all of our majors, what we want to do, because he's reaching out to his connects for after we graduate, and even during we graduate to obtain internships. Like he goes up and beyond for his players, as much as he can, and I can't ask him to do any more, literally.
Oh, that's great. Malik Smith making some time. Basketball question for you. I always enjoyed being a part of a team versus that of individual sports, and basketball for me, for you have that camaraderie. Can you share what that means to you, and where do you find that when you are flying an aircraft? Is there still that team aspect, or is that kind of more independent?
I would say just a camaraderie of it. It's one of those things where when you're working, because when I fly solo, flying by myself, it's one of those things to where when I'm playing on the basketball court, I have to understand that I have to pay attention to detail. So it's the little things that matter. And I take that, I apply those same skills and keys I do in basketball and flying in that aspect of just pay attention to every detail. Don't cut corners, because as soon as you cut corners, it's never good. It's like when you're running on the baseline or you're running suicide, you don't touch the line, you're cheating yourself. Well, the same, I don't check a gauge because I assume it's already there and I don't mess with it. Well, it might be messed up and that could, hinder my flight. So I really just lock in, pay attention to everything. I really turn into a different person when I'm on the floor and when I'm in the cockpit, and that's because of just the key, paying attention to detail.
So explain your game a little bit. Being 6'7", are you a slasher? Do you play like Scottie Pippen, or are you more of a shooter? Who would you say you patterned your game after, and what do you think is for the future for you?
So actually, one of the best things about my game is that I do a little bit of everything. I'm a slasher. I can post. I can shoot it. I can drive the ball. I pass with the best of them. So, and my parents brought me up like that, just not being a one-dimensional player, because there's going to be times where on the court we have to go with a smaller lineup and I'm able to play the 5. And then when we go bigger lineup, I'm able to slide up to the 2. So, just being able to just have multi-dimensions to my game, and also on the defensive side, being able to stop and guard multiple positions. I can guard a 1 through 5, and not many players can say that. So, but as far as the next level, I'm willing to take this, as far as I can go. I've had an interesting, basketball career as far as, transferring. But now that I found my home, this is the happiest and the best I felt physically and mentally in a long time. And, with somebody like Coach Kenny, it drives me even more to, like I said, just want to be great and keep working. And, I know for a fact that I'll be playing pro ball somewhere next season. So.
What would you say the biggest difference from high school was to this level now?
Detail, attention to detail, and it's the pace of everything. I mean, it's the same game of basketball. You have to put the orange ball in the hoop, but just the pace of how things work and people's skill levels are higher. That was the biggest adjustment for me. The same moves that I would always do in high school that were guaranteed 2 points were no longer guaranteed 2 points. People were just as fast, if not, faster, stronger than me, especially coming in and making that transition. It was tough, but I tell people it's tough for anybody. That's why when you see those freshmen that come in and play and make impacts right away, like those are special people, because that transition is not easy. It's not easy at all. So when you see it, you're like, whoa, he's really good.
So Malik, a couple questions, and we'll get you out. Thanks again for being generous with your time. You're in college. You're a college athlete. You're taking these COVID tests all the time. Have they gotten better or easier, or are they still sticking that Q-tip like up your nose and halfway down your throat?
Yeah, still sticking the Q-tip up. I told my mom the other day, I was like, golly, I feel like they're trying to scratch my brain or something. I don't know what they're testing for. Like it's annoying, but it's one of those things where you have to just do it,
Yeah.
And I'm the type of person, I'm an asthmatic, so I get tested weekly. Just to make sure that I'm ensuring that I'm in good health and I'm not, infecting others, but also just being smart about it too. So, we're living in a global pandemic right now. So I've had to, obviously, I haven't been able to, I'm not really a party or anything like that, but I've had to just be more mindful of where I go and how I go places. So stuff as simple as shopping is now different, so.
Yeah, I know up here in Vermont, in the Northeast, some of the smaller colleges have actually canceled their winter season, and we're hoping that we can somehow get it in for the high school level where I coach, my daughter plays. And then you just miss so much without sports being around, but there's other ways to communicate and connect with people, and I think flying, maybe that's in my future, but you'll have to take me up. But Malik, final question. Two questions. If you were featured in a movie, would you want to play the hero or the villain? Fictional movie. Do you want to play the hero or the villain?
Hero.
There you go. Why? Explain that a little bit.
Because I really truly love to inspire people. People look up to heroes. People idolize heroes, and I'm not saying I want people to idolize me, but I do. It's a great feeling of when people see that what I'm doing is helping them, and that's what fuels me, and that's what keeps me going. That's my motivation is okay. Like, this kid sees that I'm flying aircraft. He's telling me like he wants to do the same exact thing as me, and I inspire him to do what he loves to do. Like, it's stuff like that makes me, that makes me who I am.
That's good.
Today.
That's good. I always say the villain because I think as a pastor, and if it's a fictional movie, then I think I'm going to play the villain instead of the hero.
Yeah.
But the last question, I stole this from Hernando Panos. He's a great basketball coach. Does choreography for several movies. Worked with Adam Sandler, Common, a bunch of others. So I stole this from his podcast, Be Contagious. Go check out the Be Contagious podcast with Hernando Planos. But the question simply is, if or when the feature film is made about your life, who plays you in that feature film?
Who plays me?
Who plays you? Now, while you think, I'll tell you mine. I always say The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. Not that we look anything alike, but I just think it'd be awesome having The Rock playing me.
Oh, this is a good one. I would say Denzel Washington.
There you go. There you go. Go work. Hey, Malik, thanks so much for making the time. We wish you all the best at Fisk, and keep flying. Keep flying, both literally and proverbially. Keep going after it.
Most definitely. Thank you so much, Don. Thank you for having me. I do appreciate it.
All right. And that's Malik Smith at Fisk. Make some time. My name is Jeff Fuller. Jay Fuller Interviews. You certainly can subscribe on YouTube. We're also a podcast now, Google platform, iTunes, the Backfire podcast with Jeff Fuller of Jay Fuller Interviews. You guys have a great time. Listen to people's stories because it will make your story so much better.